kumise imisebenzi yetintfutfuko netinhlalakahle kusuka emimangweni nasemiphakatsini lapho kuhleti khona eMaswati. Timali-ke kuletikhwama nguletingabuyiselwa emuva, kantsi-ke tabelwa tonke tinkhundla velonke. Bukela luhlelo Sive Siyatfutfuka utibonele imisebenzi yentfutfuko nenhlalakahle leseyigucule tinkhulungwane netinkhulungwane teMaswati. Luhlelo-ke lungena njalo ngeLesine naseyigabence insimbi yesikhombisa kusihlwa, luphindwe ngeLesihlanu ngensimbi ye10 ekuseni nangeMgcibelo ngensimbi yesine ntsambama. Sive Siyatfutfuka.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondumiso Vilagada alongside Nomakabiso Ngambule. Let's take a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III has ordered warriors to weed Mazibega Royal Field on Wednesday. Beef producers in Eswatini were able to produce 12,000 metric tons of beef in 2023 for local consumption. The Ministry of Agriculture has raised concerns over hectares plowed and planted by farmers so far. And now the news in detail. His Majesty King Eswatini III has ordered warriors to weed Mazibega Royal Field on Wednesday. His Majesty communicated through the royal order through Indvuna Macobisa Ndwandwe at Lutsitsini Royal Residence. The warriors danced with His Majesty before they received their royal order.
As His Majesty the King has blessed the weeding of royal fields, the state of readiness among warriors is extraordinary. Lutsitsini Royal Residence, Ketlibaya, was ablaze with spectacular song and dance. The hundreds of elated warriors joined His Majesty in the singing and dancing of Umgubo regimental songs. His Majesty was joined by Emakhosigati. warriors were ordered to report at Mazibeke Royal Field on Wednesday morning. His Majesty the King communicated the royal order through Indvuna Maxobisa Ndwandwe.
Usasa uMazibeke
I'm Sandile Makanya reporting from Lutsitsini Royal Residence.
On behalf of His Majesty King Mswati III, Her Majesty the Queen Mother, the government and the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Excellency the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Russell Miso Dlamini, has congratulated the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, His Excellency Felix Tshisekedi, on his re-election as President of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Kingdom of Eswatini remains confident that under your leadership, the Republic will continue to flourish and strive for peace and stability. In joining the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo in this joyous occasion, the Prime Minister firmly believes that the cordial relations which happily exist between the two nations will continue to be enhanced and strengthened in years to come for the benefit of our people. Please accept the assurances of the Prime Minister's highest considerations and best wishes for your continued health, as well as peace and prosperity for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Government notes the ongoing slander against the King and Ingwenyama of the Kingdom of Eswatini, His Majesty King Mswati III, by certain individuals and human rights organizations who have continued to make unfounded allegations that His Majesty is involved in the killing of human rights lawyer Thulani Masego. Government also notes with disappointment the glaring disparity and selective advocacy for human rights. When Chief Mahloma was brutally murdered by the so-called Solidarity Forces in November 2022, no one amongst international organizations and human rights advocates advocated for the chief or even commended his killing. Likewise, the police who were at work manning traffic and 2 warders were killed, with no condemnation of this barbaric act of killing innocent lives by international and human rights organizations. We therefore take exceptional view to commentary by these biased so-called human rights watchers. To this end, government wishes to take this opportunity to caution these individuals and human rights organizations to desist from their malicious campaigns to tarnish the name and reputation of His Majesty the King. Decisive action will be taken against these people, and the relevant institutions shall be approached in order for this matter to be addressed once and for all. In the same vein, government has taken note of what appears to be a campaign by the leadership of the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, FESBIC, to bring discord and confusion within the business community. As such, government invited FESBIC to a meeting held at the private and cabinet offices on Tuesday, the 2nd of January 2024, where they presented their objectives and modus operandi as an organization. FESBIC was advised to focus on their business objectives, which are basically to empower local businesses. FESBIC was strongly advised to desist from confrontation with other businesses, but to seek peaceful redress through relevant institutions and following laid-down procedure. The Business Federation was sternly warned to deassociate itself from violent proscribed institutions. Government made it clear to FESBIC that elements that potentially threaten investors, peace, and destabilize the country and negatively impact the economy will not be tolerated. Government is ready and prepared to take stern measures. FESBIC agreed that they will work with government in this regard and allayed any fears that they are part of the proscribed entities. The Prime Minister would like to urge the nation on behalf of His Majesty's government to continue to stand up and fight against any elements that seek to disturb the country's hard-earned peace and stability. Beef producers in Eswatini were able to produce 12,000 metric tons of beef in 2023 for local consumption. The Director of Veterinary Services in the Ministry of Agriculture, Dr. Xolani Dlamini, says about 300 metric tons of beef was exported to international markets. Dlamini says there's an impressive number of international markets such as AGOA, European Union markets, Norway and Taiwan.
Sikhonile ukuthi sichubeke sibe nayo ibeef yathu ukuthi yayikake yashoda isitolo phinze futhi sachubeka sakhona ukuthengiselana.
As a country, we need about 12,000 metric tons of beef just for local consumption. Ever since beef importation from South Africa was halted early last year, there were no shortage of beef reported in the country, of which our local farmers did well. We only imported different types of meat, such as red offal and the oxtail, and we secured this from markets from overseas. While the beef restrictions from South Africa are still on, Eswatini have great opportunities to tap into the outside market. We have a number of markets, such as the AGOA market, which has not been utilized as yet. We have the Norway market, which offers good prices. We have the Taiwan and European Union markets.
The Ministry of Agriculture has raised concerns over hectares ploughed and planted by farmers so far. According to the Director of Agriculture, Nelson Mavuso, most farmers have planted a single field, while others are not ploughed yet.
Eswatini plants 52,000 to 78,000 hectares of maize. The Minister of Agriculture, Director Agriculture Nelson Mavuso, says the ministry is not pleased with the number of fields that have not been used during this ongoing planting season.
We have planted less land area under maize than we are expecting as a country. So this is the opportune time for us to plant sweet potatoes in the fields that have not been plowed to maize. And it's actually the right season now to plant legumes such as beans and cowpeas. We are encouraging our farmers to also take good care of the crops that they have already. There is a fear that we are receiving continuously rainfall. This is the proper distribution that we expect for crop production. One of them is that there is adequate sunshine and also adequate rainfall. The rainfall is not causing any waterlogging in our soils. It's a matter of managing the weeds in some instances, because we need to take care of the weeds, because those are the ones that actually are depleting. We are not anticipating any leaching as a result, unless those people, the fields, are located in areas where there is stagnation of water. But otherwise, there is no leaching that is anticipated right now. You can actually be observing the maize plants that you are seeing. They're actually very beautiful. We are very happy about that to our farmers.
Eswatini National Agricultural Union is now President Tumsani Masondo says one of the reasons farmers are reluctant to go to the fields is because they cannot afford farming inputs. He says these farming inputs include fertilizers and seeds. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Vuminkosi Nzinisa Mbabane.
Following the report presented by the Minister of Health, Honorable Mduduzi Matsebula, on newborns delivered in the first 8 hours of the New Year's Day, the Ministry of Health has since released a full report on the babies born on this special day. The report says there were 73 babies delivered on the special day.
The report states that the babies were delivered in government and private hospitals across the country, whereby 44 were girls and 29 were boys. The leading region with the most babies born is Wowo with 32 babies, followed by Manzini region with 23. Shiselweni and Lubombo regions received 9 babies each. In private hospitals, only 3 babies were delivered, being 2 girls and 1 boy. The report further states that most girls were delivered in the Wowo region, where 21 were born, followed by Manzini region with 15 girls, whilst Shiselweni and Lubombo regions delivered 5 and 3 girls respectively. The report says Wowo region also had the highest number of baby boys, with 11 born on the day, followed by Manzini region with 8, Lubombo region received 6 baby boys, and last on the list is Shiselweni region with 4 baby boys. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Mbongwa Dube in Mbabane.
The National Agricultural Marketing Board has issued a notice that butternut and green pepper importation restriction is uplifted with effect from 27 December 2023. NAMPOD conducted an assessment on the availability of the restricted commodities locally. The assessment indicates that the recent hailstorms, rains and heat waves have had a negative impact on the volumes of green pepper and butternut expected to be harvested. The butternut importation restrictions have been lifted, of which importation is allowed as of 27 December 2023, although restrictions will be effected on the 15th of January 2024, while green pepper importation is allowed as of 27 December 2023, and importation restrictions will be effected on the 22nd of January 2024. The board pledges to continue to monitor the situation. Just 2 days into the new year, parents and pupils have already begun the hunt for admission into high schools. This follows the release of the 2023 Grade 7 results in December. Parents who have spoken to our reporters say they had to apply this early to ensure their children are enrolled in the top schools.
People have had the finest dishes for Christmas, delighted themselves in fireworks during the crossover into the new year, and now the opening of schools is nearing. Some parents have accompanied their children to high schools with their symbols in hand, with hope that they will be admitted for Form 1. We have spoken to some of the parents who were at some schools around Mbabane.
But asifake ama-symbols la etikolweni but asiphendvula awusakhona ukubabona ukhulume nabo sowufakile kaba sakuphendvula sekwakha ini ke nawo ngumdala uye nawo bese uyabadawutha nje sebabe labantu bethu kutawufundiseka abantwana abanjani mina ke ngikhole intombi noma isoma iyayisho ngufuni hayi nje ukuthi kuyekele nje ukuthi adibonele
sifuna letindzawo vele sifuna indzawo takafom 1 la etikolweni sibambe emathuba Ulokuthi wonke umfana interested in one of the best schools la kaNgwane so ngosivukele ka boys sitofuna lendzawo but kona kumatima but we hoping ukuthi batayithola.
Although most schools had not opened for the year, Same Christian High School had opened its doors for pupils who wanted to apply for admission.
Admissions to abaka Form 1. Khaza Form 1 nje phela bothishela bebasolo basema holidayini sikaphumile ama results yabo grade 7 yes siyajabula abafana baphasile sebakhona bothishela namuhla kubasita abadali nangabe nje umfana owabebhala grade 7 uphasile siyajabula angavele same sisenaso space ngoba siyaqala nje namhla ku-admit sabakhona namuhla nakusasa siyagcina ngalesine.
It has been noted that some schools seem to have already admitted pupils for Form 1 as attested to by notifications pinned around their premises. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Umhluma Women and Youth Foundation, an organization that advocates for the rights of widows and vulnerable children, says it has received more than 25 complaints of land grabbing from December 10th to date.
The director of Umhluma Women and Youth Foundation, Lungelo Zulu, says widows and orphaned children continue to be denied their rights to land as the organization received more cases in December.
During the festive season, we recorded a number of 25 cases of land grabbing, and 7 of those cases were the direct affected people were orphan vulnerable children, and then the rest were widows. And we saw this happening during the festive season because of the fact that the traditional structures, they are not operationally due to the National Ingwala event and other commitments of the country. And so we constantly see the rise in this thing. And also again, now we also have a number of cases, about 8 of sugarcane associations whereby widows are being deprived of their annual dividends.
Zulu says the collaboration forged between his organization and other stakeholders, such as the police and liaison officers, is helpful as some cases are already being addressed despite that most sectors are closed due to holidays and national cultural events. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I am Mbongwadube with Themba Shabangu in Manzini.
The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, reminds countries that every increment of warming above 1.1 degrees Celsius will come with more extreme weather events that have caused increasing destruction of infrastructure and crops.
The report reiterates that humans are responsible for all global heating over the past 200 years, leading to a current temperature rise of 1.1 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, which has led to more frequent and hazardous weather events that have caused increasing destructions to people and the planet. The report reminds governments that every increment of warming will come with more extreme weather events. The report outlines that the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit is still achievable and reveals the critical actions required across sectors and by everyone at all levels. The report says there is a need for action that considers climate justice and focuses on climate resilient development. It also provides some of the things that needs to be done, especially best practices, technology, and effective policy measures, as well as mobilizing sufficient finances. The report further highlights the actions and decisions governments and authorities must take to avoid the catastrophic effects of climate change. The report encourages countries that it is more likely than not that temperatures overshoot the 1.5 degrees Celsius mark by 2030, exceeding the Paris Agreement temperature limit, also poses a danger and will likely push the world past dangerous tipping points from which there is no possibility of return. As scientists have said, countries are encouraged on winning the energy from fossil fuel sources and shifting to renewables. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni Mbabane.
Mathokoza Mthethwa and his wife Martha say some of the reasons that may lead to an abusive relationship is communication breakdown and buying of expensive gifts for unmarried couples. The Mthethwa family got married in the year 1979 after having started their relationship in the year 1973.
Following continuous report of gender-based violence cases in the country, Mthethwa family at Zombote insists that there is absolutely no reason to justify this. The recent gender-based violence case was reported on December 30, 2023, where a 40-year-old woman of Madonsa was stabbed to death 7 times all over the body with a sharp object, allegedly by her boyfriend. She was certified dead upon arrival in hospital.
Kukhona la siphambana khona kepha ke kuyaye kukhulunyiswane kulungiswe lokho.
It doesn't mean that things are always smooth between us. We sometimes do not see eye to eye, but we try to resolve the issues peacefully. What we have also noted is that most couples are not officially married, but cohabiting. During the Western or traditional marriage, couples are advised not to ill-treat each other, but rather end the marriage.
Yekelani lokuthengelana tinto letinkulu nithembisane tona kanti egcineni kwako konke.
You must not buy expensive things for each other, as they may lead to abusive relationships, especially if you are not married. These expensive gifts may lead to holding on to each other solely because of the materials they buy each other, and they may end up controlling each other because of the gifts. You find out that love runs out, but because of the material things, they stick together and end up abusing each other.
The Mthethwa family blames the abuse of substance. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Zombote.
A 23-year-old woman has been accused of violating the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018. She is accused of doing this by damaging a mobile phone worth close to 5,000 malangeni belonging to her ex-boyfriend. The accused has told the court that the complainant had promised her 500 malangeni for Christmas in exchange for sexual favors.
The accused has told the court that she never dated the complainant. The accused has told the court that the complainant found her crying on the 23rd of December. After the complainant asked her what was troubling her, the accused narrated to the court that she told him that she had no money to buy Christmas gifts for her child. The accused told the court that the complainant offered her 500 malangeni in exchange for copulation. The accused told the court that she agreed to the request. However, the complainant refused to give her money afterwards. The accused also told the court that out of frustration, she damaged the complainant's mobile phone. Although the accused had pleaded guilty to the offense, the court amended it to not guilty as it found that she had a defense to the charge. The Crown then applied for the accused to be remanded into custody until the 19th of January, pending trial on the 6th of February. The court then granted the accused bail set at 500 malangeni after she made an application. This matter was before Magistrate Kazile Twala. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Babane.
In our international news, BRICS, an important platform for cooperation amongst emerging markets and developing countries, has welcomed 5 new members, doubling its membership to 10. The new nations were warmly welcomed on Tuesday.
The 5 new member states are United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran and Ethiopia. The 5 countries were to join the group in August 2023 at the 15th BRICS Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. Argentina was also invited but backed out at the end of December. The group has become an important platform for cooperation among emerging markets and developing countries. The doubling of its membership on Monday is aimed at increasing the group's clout at the global stage. Russia took over the BRICS presidency from South Africa on Monday, and the Russian President Vladimir Putin plans to increase its role in the international financial system. Meanwhile, in Japan, 5 people have died in Japan when an airliner collides with Coastal Guard plane in Tokyo on Tuesday. 376 passengers and crew of Japan Airlines plane miraculously escaped from a fire after the collision with a Coastal Guard aircraft at Haneda Airport. The Coastal Guard said their plane was heading to Niigata Airport on Japan's west to deliver aid to the victims of a powerful earthquake that struck on New Year's Day, killing 48 people. Reporting for Eswatini TV, I'm Bendulo Gumbi, visual sourced from France 24 and DW.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. In our sports news, 4 local players passed on in 2023 under the National First Division and Premier League. Premier League of Eswatini serves in as much as it was a great year when it comes to the development of both leagues in 2023, but the passing of the 4 players is still a heavy one to take. The players are Smangambaya Gutsemba and Pumlani Masango, both from the National First Division side. Ubombo Flyers, Mugelo Nkambule from Denver Sundowns and Gwanele Dlamini of Manzini Wanderers.
Indeed, a devastating year under the Premier League of Eswatini, where 4 players under the National First Division and Premier League respectively passed on. In July 2023, Ubombo Flyers under the National First Division lost Smangambaya, who passed on. In November 2023, once again, Flyers were affected when they lost Pumlani Masango, who also passed on. In December, a Premier League side, being Denver Sundowns, was affected when they lost Mugelo Ngambule, who also passed on. Lastly, towards the end of the year 2023, Manzini Wanderers were also the latest team to be affected when they lost Kwanele Dlamini, who also passed on. Premier League of Eswatini says even though in terms of competitions, both National First Division and Premier League respectively, they seem to have improved, but the passing on of the 4 players in 2023 was a heavy loss. The Premier League went on to reveal that a clear decision is to take place this week to postpone Manzini Wanderers and Siswanke's Ngwenyama Cup match to give away Wanderers a chance who are facing difficult times. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.